Today we're going to talk about the REPRAP discount full graphic smart controller. Now I need to tell you a couple of things for how to connect it to the MKS Gen L version 1. Over here at the bottom where I have the dental pick, this is EXP2 and this is EXP1. So we're going to use a notched ribbon cable to attach it to the notch the way that it is set up. So notch to notch for the notch cut out. In a moment I'll show you the underside of the LCD and explain how the LCD will be connected. Okay, this is the underside of the LCD, and as you can see there's an EXP2 and the EXP1. So what we're going to do is we're going to connect EXP2 with the notch connector to the notch over here, and then we're going to do the same for EXP1. In a moment I'll show you a little bit more, but first of all I want to say that there's an SD card reader here. Now keep in mind it might not be as usable as when you use it in the ramps 1.4 because the connectors are different. So in a second I'll show you the front side. This is the front side of the LCD. We have a piezo buzzer here. We also have 2 reset buttons on either side, and then we have a menu selector, and you can select your choice in the menu by downward pressure, like so. So in a moment I'll show you how to connect the USB to the computer and then how to program in Marlin. Okay, to connect it's not very difficult. We're going to use the big side of the USB serial cable and we're going to slide it into here, and then we're going to take the small side or slim side and connect it to the computer, and you'll hear a beep. And in a moment I'll show you in Marlin how we're going to program it. Okay, the first thing we want to do is we want to open up Marlin-bugfix-1.1.9. We then want to open up the Marlin subfolder, and we want to open up boards.h. Now we want to search on MKS, and what we have here is board_MKS_Gen_L. We want to make a copy of that and close out of here. Then we want to press M on the keyboard, and we want to open up marlin.ino. Okay, in marlin.ino we're going to select the configuration.h tab, and we're going to do a search on motherboard, and we're going to replace board_ramps_14_EFB with what we just copied from the other file. So we're going to paste it here. So it's going to be board_MKS_Gen_L. Next thing we want to do is search on SD support. Now down below in here we have a couple of things that we can do. One is we can select a language. In this case the default language is English, but you can also do things like French, which is FR. You can do German, which is DE. You could also do Italian, Polish, and a bunch of other languages, and then there's also a test language if you want to develop your own. Now down below in here you have the options of either Japanese, Western, or Cyrillic for character set types. And then we have define SD support. Now in this case on the MKS Gen L it's not wired up, I believe, but if you can figure it out, all you have to do is remove the comments
to enable it. It may be there, I just haven't tested it. And then there's various other things. This doesn't apply to our current LCD. This is for a SPI LCD, I believe. And then if you're having issues with your SD card, you can remove the comments here. It's for SD check and retry. And then there's a bunch of other things that you can play with down below in here on your own time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to set up the actual discount graphics display. So we're going to do a find on discount underscore full. And all we have to do to enable this is remove the comments right in front of the define. And then keep in mind that if you don't have this loaded, being the U8 glib, you'll have to download it and install it, or you can go to Tools, Manage Libraries, and if you open this up, a screen will display that is designed to download via the internet, and you'll type in the search window glib for the U8 right here, and that should bring you to the option that you can install. So it's somewhat intuitive. So the next thing we want to do is we actually want to load the firmware. So first we're going to check to make sure that we have the processor selected, which is the Mega 2560, and that we have a port selected. In this case, we're going to select port 11. Then we're going to click the upload button, which will compile and then upload to the MKS Gen L, the firmware. So keep in mind, after this, I'll demonstrate how to test the LCD.
Okay, I have the serial USB disconnected, so I'm going to connect it so you can see it boot. Now, the first thing you'll see is the splash screen. And now you see the actual status screen for the printer. Now you can adjust using this by pushing down and turning to go to menu, and then select a menu. And then you have obviously your reset buttons if you'd like to try those, but I'm not going to demonstrate everything on here at the moment. But I want to thank you for taking the time to watch the tutorial, and please like and subscribe.